It was nearly twice as bad as any other team from year to year. So, Shannon, how much did this year's 7-9 record taint Belichick's legacy?
I don't think it taints it at all, Skip. I really don't. There was a decline in the defense speaks to the level of consistency in which they played at such a very long time. If you look at the defensive rank in 2019, Skip, they were #1 in scoring, and they've been ranked #1 since 2000. If you look at overall defense for basically 2 decades. And you look at last year, they were 7th in scoring. They were 7th in this year in scoring, which isn't bad. They were 1st last year. While they were 27th in offense this year, they were 7th in last year. And I think the thing is, last year, the defense took the ball away a lot more last year than what they did this year, Skip. The opt-outs, Chung, Hightower, which were starters. Stephon Gilmore missed 5 games, who's their best defensive player, who was the reigning defensive player of the year, Skip. And so I think that had a lot to do with it. But Coach Belichick has a legacy like Jordan. Jordan went to Washington, and nobody thinks any less of Michael Jordan because of what he had accomplished in his earlier career. He got those 6 titles. It was almost like he didn't. So for me, I don't know what Coach Belichick could do.
So do you think Bill's in his Washington phase now?
No. I'm just saying. Now, look, a lot of people going to say, see, I told you. Some people ding him because of Spygate. Some people ding him because of Deflategate. Some people say, well, all the cheating, Skip, he ain't going to even be in my top 5 because of all the cheating that goes along with him. But for me, I don't believe this harms his legacy because he's, like you said, Skip, Brady is 6 for 9. His head coach is also 6 for 9. And so I don't think this harms his legacy. We're going to see they have, what, $58 million in cap space next year. We're going to see they need a quarterback. They need some pieces.
Yep.
We're going to see if he's the architect that everybody believes that he is, or was he just being carried. Don't be Mike McCarthy. Because what we're seeing by Mike McCarthy, and I believe he's 50, 100 trillion times better than Mike McCarthy. But people are starting to see Mike McCarthy's success was tied to 2 quarterbacks.
Yep.
Coach Belichick does not want his legacy, doesn't want his success tied entirely to Tom Brady. So we're going to see. I'm going to give him next year and maybe the year after to see if he can make the playoffs.
Okay.
But it's not going to be easy because Buffalo is here to stay and Miami seems to be on the up.
They seem to be. I believe that the 2020 season has begun to harm Belichick's legacy because I think you began to see him get exposed, not only as a coach, but even more so as a team builder. By example, quick flashback for you. I covered all those Cowboy teams all the way back into the 70s. Gil Brandt, who's still going strong for NFL.com.
He broke his leg the other day. Yeah, he broke his leg, yeah.
I hope he's all right.
Yeah, he's
getting up there.
Yeah, he is.
He's the last survivor of that holy trinity that ran those Cowboys of Tex Schramm, Gil Brandt, and Tom Landry.
Right.
Okay, for those who have no idea, Gil Brandt back in the day, he was the draft master.
Yeah, done.
He knew where all the nuggets were, all the diamonds
Randy White,
in the rough.
The Lilies.
He got them all. He went to Langston University way up in central Oklahoma and got Hollywood Henderson, right?
Yeah.
And
a linebacker that ran back kickoffs. How many linebackers you know run
back kickoffs? He dunked over the crossbar at a playoff game out here after he picked 6. I think it was Pat Hayes, and dunked over the crossbar. What an athlete Thomas
he was.
Woo! I knew him well. The point was, all of a sudden, Gil Brandt started feeling himself, and he started to believe his own genius, and then he kept thinking, well, I got to keep reaching in the first round. I got to reach for somebody nobody's even heard of.
Right.
So he reached we got to the 80s, the early 80s, 81, 82, 83, 84. He's reach, swing and miss, swing and miss. He had made Tom Landry, and then he broke Tom Landry because Tom had little to nothing to do with the drafting.
Right.
And all of a sudden, Tom just didn't have any players.
Right.
Well, Bill is his own Gil Brandt.
Yeah.
Right?
And the thing is, Skip, all the good players that Gil had gotten him in the 60s and 70s had gotten old come 80s, and he wasn't restocking that.
He wasn't restocking. Nope. And they got really bad.
Yes.
And they hit bottom, as you know, in 1988 when they hit 3-13 bottom.
Right.
Gave Jimmy and Jerry the first pick in the draft.
Correct.
Okay. So the point is, Bill Belichick is his own Gil Brandt to the point that he buys the groceries.
Right.
Man, I don't know about his grocery buying because I think it got camouflaged how bad it was by Tom Brady. That's why I gave Tom
You might be right, Skip.
75% of the credit, because you still had the GOAT at quarterback.
He might have been buying some terrible ingredients, and that chef, which is Tom Brady, was cooking that thing up, and you didn't really know how bad it was.
Cooking it up. Thank you very much. That's what I think we'll see, because I'm going to remind everybody that before Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, as a head coach in Cleveland for 5 years, and then in obviously New England for a year and 2 games, was 41-57. So he was 16 games under 500 until he got Brady.
Right.
And I give you, he's a defensive mastermind.
Yes.
I give you that. He's up there with Buddy Ryan or whoever else you want to put up in that equation for defensive brilliance.
Bud Carson, who was the D coordinator of the Steelers, the 70s.
Jim Johnson with the Eagles back in the day. Okay, we get that. And I give you all the above. But that's not his title, because he runs the whole show. He's the head coach and the personnel director.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, so if you start to evaluate what happened last year, well, the cupboard was already starting to get bare, and then all of a sudden you had the 2 opt-outs, Hightower and Chung, you talked about, and then mass exodus. Kyle Van Noy, Landon Roberts, they go south to Miami, right? And then Jamie Collins gone, Danny Shelton gone, Deron Harmon traded. Well, I believe that Bill started to believe his own genius, like, it doesn't matter, I'll show you, I can still do it with nothing.
They believe that, Skip.
Okay.
I mean, all greats believe is them.
Yeah, and it wasn't him last year because he didn't have a quarterback.
No.
He had a decent. I thought Cam played really well for a while, but he ran it a little better than he threw it.
Right.
And they had to completely revamp their approach. I actually thought Cam had a pretty good year.
So let me ask you this, Skip. What do you think their record would have been had they had Brady? Same talent, same level of opt-outs. What do you believe their record would have been?
Did he restock the cupboard at receiver?
No.
None.
No.
I don't know.
No, I'm saying the exact same. Everything stays the same. The only difference is Brady's the quarterback. Edelman gets hurt, misses a substantial amount of time. Everything is exactly the same. The only difference is
just because I believe in Brady so much, and he showed you he still got it at 43, I believe they could have won 2 more games. Where would 9 of 7 have gotten them?
Nothing, nowhere.
Nowhere.
Because 11-5 is what made the playoffs.
Yep.
So, I mean, so you need to make it.
I mean, when you have no help, and trust me, there are many nights Tom Brady's sitting back watching Cam play on whatever night football it was, thinking, man, I feel for the guy because I know how that feels.
I know what it's like.
Yep. And it was rough, man, because you're throwing to just a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
And he even lost to Edelman.
And Tom knew. Tom was starting to see it because he was up close. He got an opportunity to see it before everybody else from the outside got an opportunity to see it. And so he's like, okay. He wanted to stay, Skip. He just wanted someone that, like, you know what? I really shouldn't stay. But you know what? If you show me that you really want me, I'll stay. Yeah. And Coach Belichick said, nah, Tom, you know. And that's all he wanted to hear.
What do you think Tom is thinking when he suddenly becomes a free agent and he says, do I want Mike Evans or Jacoby Myers? Right?
He's like, first, and he's thinking this is what he really thought. If they really wanted me, I'd have never became a free agent. This is the first time I've ever been a free agent.
Yep.
Because in all my 20 years, they wanted me. For the very first time, Skip, I'm a free agent. You didn't want me. And then by the time they realized it, and Mr. Kraft tried to talk to him, Tom Hart was already on out the door. Because he was already had like 1 foot out the door, Skip, because Coach Belichick, he's like, and then...
Okay, so there's only one way Bill Belichick is going to start saving his legacy, start reproving his genius. He better go find a quarterback.
You got to
Is he capable?
You got to do that.
Has John Elway been able to find a quarterback since Peyton knocked on John's door?
I don't care how good your head coach is. I don't care how good your organization is, general manager, how great the structure. If you don't have that guy.
If you don't have it, you got nothing.
Man, stop wasting time.
Yeah, like John Elway the other day stepped upstairs, right? He said, well, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'll be the, president?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you look back at the run of quarterbacks, and it's just, is Drew Lock the answer? I don't think so, but I didn't love him coming out of the draft.
Osweiler wasn't the answer.
No.
Paxton Lynch wasn't the answer. Trevor Siemian was not the answer.
Okay, so you don't have a quarterback.
No.
Bill, you better find one.
You better find it. Yep. If you don't get him, you spinning your wheels, Skip.
An interesting season for Patriots fans, really. Different for them to experience this one. Another Hall of Famer, guys, actually called out the Eagles for quitting. Former Eagle Orlando Scandrick